So good morning and welcome to everybody. I'm Sally Earlam and I'm going to be talking about relationships in pregnancy. So my challenge for today is 2 topics in 20 minutes. So as you're going to gather, it's going to be bullet points, but I want to leave some time at the end to get your ideas, because the 2 topics I'm talking about is first of all just thinking about how some of the relationships change in pregnancy and why they change in pregnancy actually, and then also how we can optimise that relationship with our clients. So that's my 2 topics in 20 minutes. So where am I going to start? I'm going to start with a reminder of what we do and why we do it. And in my reflexology, well, as a reflexologist, there's nothing that fills my heart more with joy than when these little pictures ping into my WhatsApp. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room. So what we have here is we've got early scans that have come in. The 4D scan. I'm not sure whether it's weird or whether it's beautiful, but it's absolutely beautiful to them. Up here, all babies are precious. These are 2 IVF babies. This one, the parents it was their 3rd round of IVF. First 2 hadn't been as successful. With reflexology, what we always love, they now had this beautiful baby. And that's the 2nd IVF baby, but that was just first time. Here we have a woman came to me and she'd had a twin pregnancy. And with the pregnancy, she'd lost one of the babies. So she came to me and her anxiety, as you can imagine, was through the roof. But I get regular updates from her and the little pictures. That's my daughter. And I put that up there just to cheer me up this morning. And, you know, I think this is just amazing that these clients want to share these precious moments with us. So that's what we do and why we do it. So I now want to look at one of the reasons why relationships change with pregnant women. And neurologists have now found that actually there are an awful lot of changes that happen in the brain. And this is during pregnancy and up to 2 years post-birth. And it's these changes in the brain that lead to changes in thoughts and behaviours. So look at this. Changes in prefrontal cortex, midbrain, parietal lobes. They think there's more areas of the brain that change, and this is under the influence of hormones. Grey matter becomes more concentrated. There's an increased activity in the amygdala, in our limbic system, and this is what's driving us emotionally. So this is reactions such as fear, anxiety. They talk about the maternal motivation, that wanting the child to be all right and wanting to look after the child, and affection. One of these increased activities in the amygdala is that you get more of the, welcome, that's all right, come in. You get more receptors for the oxytocin. And during pregnancy and after pregnancy, you also get an increase in the maternal oxytocin. And this is, they believe, the process that leads to the maternal-infant bonding. If you look at postnatal depression, they've been studying the amygdalas of those women and finding that their amygdalas are smaller. So they're thinking that there's some relationship there. All of these changes in the brain lead to maternal feelings of that overwhelming love, fierce protectiveness, worry, will the baby be okay? And what you have here then is women who want to talk baby. So I am absolutely saying that we need to be able to and want to listen to them talking about the baby. And if you think about what I've just said, is what we've got here is women who are just obsessed with talking baby, wanting every thought almost is about baby. And that, the scientists are thinking, is what changes relationships. So that's the premise of it. Relationship with the partner, up to 40% of couples During pregnancy and the first year postnatal, up to 70% report decline in their relationship. And the common themes that we have is less positive communication. And if you think you've got this woman whose brain is going, baby, 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 that change doesn't happen in the partner. Actually, there is a little change in the partner's brain, but not as much as the woman. And have you ever had clients who have come and said to you, oh, my husband's just not interested? He is interested, but just not to that same level. So both can end up feeling isolated, less supported, and the partner can feel neglected. Tiredness and exhaustion for the woman in pregnancy, for both of them after the birth. And they also report increased conflict, such as household chores. I have those conflicts and I don't have babies. But anyway, that's one of the common things that was reported. And I think as therapists, we need to reassure them that this is normal and just try and encourage them to be slightly more objective. Perhaps your husband feels he is, not as central to your life as you were. And I think one nice thing to get them to do is just suggest that she shares her hopes and dreams with her partner and potentially encourages her partner to do it back. And of course, quality time together is one of the key things here as well. So that's some of the main changes with the partner. Friends and family. So, friends and family may just be at a different stage in their life. They may not want to talk baby. They might have done that already or not interested. So they might not feel as engaged when the woman used to talk about all the classes she was doing, her work, and suddenly talks baby. They may feel excluded or jealous. Where are friends and family in their conception journey? What's happening there? One of my very, very best friends, we lost touch completely. It's now come back, and it now transpires that she was trying for a baby. She never told me and wasn't able to have children. So you don't know what's going on in other people's lives. This one, I'm sure we can relate to this. People can offer unwanted advice or criticism. Oh, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way.
Or the worst birth story ever.
Worst birth story ever. They never share the best birth story ever, though. No. Absolutely. And I think it's, again, reassuring that client that, do you know what? It's okay that you think you make a decision about what's right for you, for what's right for you and your partner, and then gently have that conversation with the friends and family and say, actually, we feel this is a decision that we would like to make ourselves. Also reassure them friendships can sometimes adapt if they're talking about the loss of a friend, but friendships can adapt and come back in later life as well. But also new friendships will be made, so have a look around for antenatal classes, places where they can meet up with other baby-brained mums to be. So that's the second relationship. Relationship with their baby, of course, they are developing a brand new relationship. And they say that the changes in the brain are actually very similar to that falling in love. But rather than talking obsessively, I'm sure we all remember this, about that new love in your life, they're obsessing about the baby. Now, of course, they have a very willing audience, our mums to be, because they have their baby in the tummy. So I would always encourage the mums to try and talk a lot of baby. Baby, they say, can hear from 26 weeks onwards, and that's verbally, let alone emotionally, which will happen much earlier on. So spend some time talking to the baby, which might help them have this time when they can talk baby. Mums are also learning about what their babies are doing, and I think it's quite good just to have a check-up before they come. The baby centre has a great site where you can just have a look about what the development is of the baby as well. The next one, relationship with themselves. They are changing physically and emotionally. So they're on an emotional roller coaster. They might have been a very stable person running big businesses, and suddenly they're crying one moment, laughing the next moment, and they don't understand what is happening to them. They have to adjust to how their body is changing as well. How they see themselves as a worker will change, a friend, a partner, a mother. This is also a very common time where issues can come up about how they were parented as well. How strangers interact with them. Other people have complete strangers coming up to them and feeling they have a right to touch the bump. You know, they wouldn't do it to any other woman, but there seems to be this, you know, you're very vulnerable. You feel very vulnerable. And just a reminder that anxiety is more common in pregnancy. And again, this is just reassuring them that these feelings are common. They're normal. They're to be expected. Give them self-help ideas if they're feeling anxious, and start building a relationship of trust. So, therapeutic relationship is something we all know about. Now, I do just want to very quickly run through this, because I don't know about you, but if you've got a client that you've particularly been seeing for a long time, I think sometimes things can begin to slip. So what is a therapeutic relationship? It's an ongoing relationship between the therapist and the client that is established to support the client's therapeutic goal. It's there to support and be a helpful resource for the client. So the client must always remain at the core of everything we do. Healthy therapeutic relationship includes trust, respect, safety, which we will come back to, authenticity. They say everybody can spot a phony. And I think this is why you need to absolutely want to be involved in maternity reflexology. They want total acceptance, empathy, which again I'll come back to, and collaborative agreement. So that's just what it is. But why is it important? It's essential for retaining clients, improves outcomes. A good therapeutic relationship means better outcomes for the clients. Adds to their motivation and promotes their disclosure. So that's them being able to open up to us. And I believe our therapeutic relationship is as important as what we do on the feet. And we will have a look at first impressions in the moment. The power of a warm encounter. However we're feeling, we need to make that person feel special. And I think this is a key time where meditation, something like Sue's 10-minute meditation could work very well, or Heidi's 5-element breathing. Just get yourself grounded if you're not in that space. They need to feel listened to, relaxed, and able to speak freely. It's about not being judged. Feeling safe, as I say, I'm going to come back to because I think that's really key in maternity. So, first impressions. You have 7 seconds to make a first impression. And I think what is really interesting here, in fact, it's in those 7 seconds that they will make that judgment of how trustworthy you are. Once they've made that decision, it's really hard for you to change that. So these 7 seconds are key. What's interesting, if you look at communication, 93% of it is about body language. Only 7% is about what we say. So 55% is about facial expression and posture, 38% tone of your voice. Touch tells them you care. So for every client coming in, not just the first ones, you need to have genuine smile, shake hands, get that touch in, and good eye contact. And I've put here, read your client, because of course this relationship is two-way. So they're judging you, but you can judge them. And it's very easy to do. You know, if they come shoulders down, you can see they're exhausted. You're not going to welcome them with a really firm handshake and lots of laughter. So just match what you see. Share your experience. So this is later on now, but share your experience and your skill set. Absolutely tell them that you know what you're doing, because they're going to be feeling slightly vulnerable. One of the Show Your Passion should probably read as Show Your Passion for Reflexology. So sorry about that. But they have shown that being passionate about a subject actually is one of the most important things for inspiring people, energising people and influencing people, getting them on board to consider changes that they need to make. So let's remember our first impressions. Verbal communication, tell a story, reaches the hearts and the minds. If I take you back to where I started and I showed you pictures of the babies, can any of you remember how many IVF babies there were there? 2. So virtually everybody in the room. And that's because I told you a story. And that gets into your head and your heart. And telling a story could be about other clients that you've seen who've had, good results. Any story you tell them, though, must keep the client at the centre. And I think it's sometimes difficult, isn't it, to know how much you should share. If you've had a similar experience, should I tell them, shouldn't I tell them? And your question must always be, am I telling them this for their benefit? If it's just because, you want to talk about your experience, then you don't. Don't get stuck in therapy mode. So this is your empathy versus your sympathy. So empathy is just letting them know that you understand. Sympathy is that sympathetic nod, that's terrible. But if we are sympathetic, what we do is we keep them stuck in their mud. And what we need to do is start bringing them out of their mud. And also people tire of sympathy as well. So remember not to do those sympathetic nods too much. I think one really good thing is if you can try and reframe the challenges they're having and try and find if there's a potential opportunity that could come from this. So like the women who are losing friends, there's a local antenatal yoga class, go and meet people who are in the same situation. So try reframing things. Giving them hope, even a smidgen of hope, can actually help them believe that they could get better. And what this means is you can use, again, client stories. So most of my clients who've got pelvic girdle pain went on to have a normal labour because they're fearful that there's going to be an intervention because second stage is longer. Or you can use research studies if there are research studies about it as well. And this all ties into getting the head to believe and placebo. And both of those have really strong, powerful healing reactions for both emotions and physically. So make the most, give them hope. When you look at psychotherapy and counselling, they've shown that if you can give them a little bit of hope, it actually improves their outcomes. So that's a good one to do. Give information, don't criticise or tell. None of us like being told what to do. Give them information, it's their journey, it's up to them to do what they want to. And again, if we can show genuine appreciation, considering what you've been through, I think you are doing incredibly well. Admiration, acknowledgement of their growth, because that all builds them their self-esteem and is going to help them come out of their mud. So that's our verbal. I'm nearly there, we're doing it. Relationships in maternity. I think one of the key things is letting them know they're in safe hands and you know what you're doing. And be explicit about it. So do know about the changes that occur in pregnancy. What's normal? What's not normal? Is there something that's raising a red flag that might not even be a red flag, but really you need to go and discuss that with your healthcare team? Know about the development of the baby, as I said, even if you've just looked it up before they've come. We all know, ensure extra time for getting comfortable and standing up, but be explicit about it. It's really important we get you into a comfortable position. I've got lots of pillows so we can get you into a comfortable position. As you bring them upright, say, you can sometimes feel dizzy, so just sit there till you feel okay. So be really explicit about it. Tell them that you know what you're doing. Third trimester, if you work in a lymphoma, always have a backup plan of where you can treat them if they start getting breathless when you tilt them back. And as I've said earlier, I think it's really useful that you know about some of the local support groups that are around in your area to say, you know, you can go and join that. So be explicit about their safety and you know what you're doing. Be genuinely interested in their pregnancy. We've covered that. Give them time to talk, express pregnancies and worries, but ask them questions. You know, how are things going at work? How's your partner? Some of you may have wondered why I've put a picture of a dog at the top of this slide. And next I've got the bullet point is be prepared for the good times and the not so good. You're much more likely to have really straightforward pregnancies, but you have to be prepared that not all pregnancies are going to be successful. This puppy was a client who lost her baby during the pregnancy, but she still felt able to share a picture of her new puppy that she'd bought. I know, it was lovely. So that's why there's a picture of a puppy. But I think you need to accept that bad things can happen, and can you cope with that? I also think having professional, good quality support materials, maternity leaflets, of course there's the AoR one, which I have copies of if anybody wants to have a look at it, but maybe print some aftercare advice sheets as well, specific for maternity, so they know it's an area that you're interested in and again know about. So this is my last slide. Few minutes late, but never mind. And I want us to be creative and share ideas about building therapeutic relationships. This is something I came across. Quite a famous psychotherapist changes his room around every time he sees a client because he believes that repetitive experiences can lose their capacity to help change and growth. So if you've got a client that you feel's a bit stuck, well, you could change your room around. Or say, right, we're going to mix up our reflexology today. Change the way you question them so they doesn't just become a habit to them. Lighten up. Give them something to smile about. Not always appropriate, but just try and introduce some of the lightness into it. 25 minutes. So, anybody got anything creative that you've done that you think has helped building a therapeutic relationship?
I bring roses or whatever's flowering in the garden.
So you bring flowers from the garden.
Yeah. So look at this, I picked this one this morning.
So you bring flowers in and make a point of it and say to clients, smell this, look at this, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe put inspirational quotes on bookmark or something.
Inspirational quotes and give it to them. And actually, you know, Sue did this yesterday, where she gave us all of these quotes. And they were random.
Yeah.
And everybody I've spoken to, it was very pertinent to. So I think that's lovely. Or say, pick one. Choose one.
I have these in my treatment room, which if you want. So they're everyone, not everyone is spiritual, but they're oracle cards, and even most people who have no faith or whatever, they will pick one. They will pick one. There's never a bad message in them. It's always like believe in yourself, and they just feel so inspired.
So again, angel cards are people pick their own and they will get a positive message.
But if you look at the likes of Louise L. Hay, if you're a bit deterred by angels, she has more positive affirmation.
Okay, so again, Louise Hay, more positive affirmations. Good.
I find the angel cards very useful. I leave them discreetly on the desk.
Yep.
And people will either see them or they won't see them.
So you allow people to notice them and only choose one if they are interested.
Yeah. Oh, can I have one of those?
Yeah.
Or they just won't notice, see them at all.
Yeah. Perfect. So it allows them to see it. There was things over here.
On a random basis, if I feel the person is a bit low, it's very intuitive. I give them a crystal, so it feels that they've got a crutch, something to take
Okay,
with them.
so giving them a crystal. And I do think giving little gifts is a lovely way to build that loyalty. And clients get so touched by it, don't they, as well?
That's where Heidi's aroma reflex is very, because at the end you give them the mix you've made up, and they can take it away with them, and they love that.
So one idea for the gift with the aroma reflex is that they get a little tin of their blend that's been mixed for them to take with them.
I give poetry as well sometimes, don't I, Heidi?
Oh, yes.
Sorry, poetry?
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
What, you read poetry to them?
No, I'll print it off for them.
So you print poetry off for them, lovely. Beautiful idea.
Visualizations, I use it a lot with my IVF clients, ones that are into it, but around different stages we'll do a visualization in the treatment, and then they can use it at implantation or at home, and I find when I'm working we do it together, and then you can really feel the difference while you're working if they start doing the breathing and visualization.
Yeah. So again, offering visualization appropriate to where they are in their healing journey.
I've done playlists for clients, so they've come for treatments, they've loved the music, so I'll do them a little mini playlist and they play it in labour.
So again, a playlist that they can use. I actually use the same piece of music for every single client because I want to get that limbic system which remembers things, it stores memories and attaches emotions. So I use the same piece of music hoping that the minute they hear it, limbic system says go relax even before you've touched them. And again, I give them the copy to take on with them as well. I can tell you later. It's on my phone. No, I can't remember.
So at the end of a session, when they're all feeling very relaxed, I say, remember how you feel, because you can always tune back into this feeling once you leave this space.
Yeah, and I think, so reminding the clients that actually this is how you feel, this is how you should feel for the majority of the time. Remember that and try and come back to it.
I think telling them like some of the kind of amazing information at the beginning of the slides, and I've finished a stage pretty much, like babies' neural pathways light up when you talk to them. Like actually they've done studies that show this, and they're always like, oh, wow, really? It's like, yeah, so talk to your baby, actually it makes a difference. It makes a physiological difference.
Yes, so
and that's quite reassuring.
that's about the fact that when you talk to the baby's neural pathways light up too. So lovely.
Another question might be very crazy. Why is it 7 seconds, not 5 seconds, 6 seconds? That's
Studies. Yeah. That's what they say. And actually, I said within that 7 seconds, they make the judgment of trustworthiness. They think that's made in the first few seconds. So it's so instant. Yeah. And, again, with repeat clients, I don't always shake hands, but actually this has been a really good reminder for me that touch tells them that you care. Or if you know them well, a hug. It doesn't matter, but some form.
Spanish kiss.
A Spanish kiss is fine, but that's judging your client. Because some clients, you can tell, but you're judging them. You can tell them, don't touch me, but a handshake's fine, but don't hug me, don't kiss me.
Well, it's the same with names, though, isn't it? You have to be very careful about what you call someone, particularly if they're a more retiring person. I've got clients who want to be Mrs. whatever, and other clients who want to be known by their Christian name.
So it's
and some who, with their Christian name, they don't want it shortened, they don't want it fiddled with, and that's it. That's them. Their name is them.
Yeah. So it's using the right name, whether it's Mrs. Brown. Don't shorten it unless they say. And I think the other thing that's really good is I always make notes about what's been happening, where they're going on holiday, what their grandson's called. Yeah, that quick look before they come. But that again shows them that they are special.
I also do a little I wouldn't say gift bag, but what I do to my clients is I would print out, so I do face as well, so I print out the face, or you could use the hands, and I leave them reflex points to work, if they're running late with their labour, and I also give them a really small little pot of foot wax. It's for their partners or whoever to rub their feet, and I show them what they can do, get their partners to work on themselves. So very much reinforcing reflexology for them on those stages. Yeah.
So again, the little gift
Yep.
of a cream, but with hand maps, face maps, whichever you're doing.
I think giving partners homework's a really good one. I don't know if the partners like me, but the mums do.
Yes.
I'm always like, make a suggestion. If your partner likes football or whatever it is, that's great, but maybe they could rub your feet while watching.
Yeah, so that's getting the partner to be doing some reflexology. And the other thing that I will often say is there's all those AoR hand videos
Yep.
on our YouTube. So you can even say, just tell you, put this on, give your hand to your partner and say, there you go.
Could I just say a note on partners? Sorry, don't always assume they're male.
No, I hope I've been careful at saying partner.
I've made that mistake. That's why I'm saying it. I've
Yeah.
made that mistake. So I feel in the way we are today working, we need to be very aware of that. And sometimes these ladies don't feel like they can share that very easily,
Yeah.
and it might come out later. So it was just something that came into my head. So I
So
thought I would
yeah,
share
the
it.
point there is always remember there can be same-sex relationships. I think two more, and then we are done. So Louise was
So
first.
once I know that the baby's born and everything is okay, I've had that text message from my new mother.
Yes.
I sent her an email with how to give reflexology to your baby with a little different positions.
Yes, we're
and a
just
little
last
program.
question. Yes, and the other thing, again, on the AoR website, there's an article called Soothing Your Crying Babies, which has some information that came from Denmark and hand points as well. So if you haven't got your own, then you can give that to them as well.
Susan Quayle does Mouse's House.
Yeah, this is the Mouse's House. But last question, and then
There's a
we're...
comment really. One of the first slides said about the partner feeling isolated.
Yes.
But in my case, I was working, my husband was a house dad and he did the night shift and everything. So actually I was the one feeling isolated.
And I apologise for that because the slide did say both. And I should have said both can feel isolated.
Just a comment on, modern lifestyles.
Absolutely, it is both can be isolated. Right, well, thank you all very much. Enjoy the